Alistair Kavanagh and Gavin Lawrence were frustrated at having punctured again, and although a win was out of the question, they still needed to drive hard to remain on the podium. They matched Duncan's time on stage 6, and with Chagger out, had a big enough cushion to retain second. Hardy Parisi and Ravi Soni slipped into third, but with the car crabbing, they obviously had a major problem that was going to be more than a roadside repair. And sure enough, they came to a stop to become the 8th car out of the event. With third place now up for grabs, it was all change on the leaderboard, and the race became even more brisk, with all the crews suddenly finding a burst of speed not seen before. Tajveer Rai and Bharat Patni continued to show their potential, putting in a strong, solid performance. They ignored the pressure that was building behind and cruised through the stages to claim the 3rd spot, but it was all very close. As anticipated, Jaswinder and Ravi Chana increased their pace, getting what they could out of the Celica, and with the stakes so high, taking risks became part of the package. They moved 3 places up the leaderboard to 4th, and were now less than a minute off gaining 3rd. Whilst Jagjeet Patel and Vinay Shah are regular contenders, they have never featured amongst the leaders, and despite this brief wrong slot, they were climbing through the ranks. Given the opportunity of a top placing, they were proving to be extremely competitive and were lying 5th. Jasminder Barij and Ben Spinks rarely get the opportunity to display their talent due to mechanical breakdowns with the Evo 6. Except for a puncture, it was all going well, and if they maintained their pace, were on track to claim 6th overall.
Today is a matter of pace and being wily rather than being flat out. And as you say, I'm trying to get a good finish rather than just going flat out and stopping by the side of the road.
Sandeep Jandu and Gurdeep Mehangra had been caught in a sudden and brief thunderstorm, and at a Y fork, the car slid straight into the sugarcane, where they got stuck for 5 minutes. After such a strong start to the rally, it was frustrating, but 7th was still a respectable position. With 1 stage remaining, Ian Duncan was in command, now 7 minutes ahead of Alistair Kavanagh, who was safe in 2nd. With only 20 competitive kilometers to the end, positions were unlikely to change. Following the nullification of their rally in the previous event, the 2-wheel drive contenders had had their entry fee waived as a small measure of compensation. 8 cars had entered to continue the race for the championship title, relieved that the route was dry, giving them a chance to get some stage miles under their belt. Taking full advantage of their 2-litre engine were Niaz Bashir and Jonathan Koske, who took the early lead at the wheel of a Toyota Celica. They were a minute out in front, but the hard going was too much for the engine, which blew, and they were out on stage 3. The championship leaders, James Karimi and Kibeli Korir, took over the lead and set about extending their leading margin on the remaining stages. Their itinerary included 4 of the 7 stages, and the 90 kilometers was a long event for them. It was a balance between knowing when to be cautious to save the car against the need to record good times. Simon Yori and Julius Machua, in one of the 4 liveries entered, were running 3rd overall when the back end totally collapsed, and they were out on stage 3.
The diff is completely dismembered from the car, and even the rear shocks are out completely. Eventually, after hitting this ditch, we broke the propeller. The propeller is in 2 pieces, and the car could not move on.
Out on the same stage were the 2 girls, Joan Nesbitt and Tamara Jones, who took a jump too fast, breaking the suspension on the landing. Imran and Mohammed Khana managed to find the deepest part across this stream, immediately ingesting water. It was only a temporary setback and were soon on their way, having lost 3 minutes. Later into the rally, they took a jump too fast, bending a steering arm, and were fortunate to make it to the end to claim 5th. Joel Mushiri and Riyadh Ismail nearly got stuck in the stream. They were desperate to win for the points toward realizing their goal of the championship title. Their biggest problem was being first on the road, losing time when they caught the back markers in the main event and had to accept fourth. All hopes of winning the championship were put on hold.
It's not lucky to be kind of one on road. It's better if you start second, third. It's better because there you always have a gap of 10 minutes plus another gap of 6 minutes. So 16 minutes, it's hard for you to meet up with the front car, which will be.
Patrick Kibara and James Mwangi were only too aware that if they were to get a result, the balancing theory would have to go. They threw caution to the wind and just hung on over the rough. But after puncturing, the best they could do was third.
First stage I thought the car was running well, but the puncture put us off, but that was just a temporary setback. After frustrations in Eldoret and a lot of mud in Eldoret Ravine, this has been a good rally.
The top two places were taken by VWs, who were both quicker up the hill climb, with Dennis Mwenda and Edward Deroge taking the stage win. They were quick enough on all the other stages to stay ahead of the Levines, and they narrowly took second by less than a minute.